entertain resolutions and bring to the body on legislative issues. It is the only place in the bylaws where the word resolutions is used, and that's why Nathan came to me earlier today. And we can either set this aside and wait for new business in which you can read it again, or we can address it now and be done with it. And so I believe that he had read the resolution. Everybody understands. I'm trying to define the
I got it. There we go. Got to be ambidextrous.
I make a motion to set it aside until later in the special order.
Well, I believe that that's already on the floor. There's a motion already on the floor previously to go for this. Am I correct? Yeah. So we have to take care of that first.
And the motion was to either approve this resolution to be the opinion of the body or not. A vote yes would be to agree with the resolution. A vote no would be to disagree with the resolution. And and is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion.
Actually, okay. I want to read from section, Article 4, Section 4, B. An elected officer of the ARC may be removed by cause by 2/3 vote of the executive board at a special executive board meeting to remove that member. 2 members of the executive board may bring a complaint against an officer, and a meeting shall then be held and a vote taken on removal no later than 14 days after notifying the officer by mail and email. The officer in question has the right to respond to the allegations at this meeting. If the executive board has voted to remove the officer at this meeting, the officer may take the executive board decision to the general membership at the next general meeting for an up or down simple majority vote on the decision. The vote shall be based on grounds for removal from the executive board decision. That is, this comes from our parliamentarian and our club bylaws that were passed in July or June.
Your point is, you read the bylaw.
It's debate on the resolution, saying that the resolution's factually accurate. It's not accurate.
Okay, so you're saying that because we have a bylaw that covers how to handle the situation, that resolution describes something.
Okay, that's the opinion of the parliamentarian, club's parliamentarian.
So I will take this opportunity to speak for the resolution, because the resolution did describe many of the cases in Roberts which were left aside and not embraced when that very bylaw was ruled to be inadequate for the process of considering the complaint. And that is why we had to have a trial, because that bylaw was described as being inadequate for the complaint. And so that's why we went to the trial. We have had 1 for and 1 against. Yes. One point of information.
I'm sorry, it's an information question. After all that everything he read out, what was actually the bottom line to the resolution?
What are we voting on?
Okay,
Yes, what are we actually supposed to be voting on?
Leave the whereases out and read the be it resolved.
Are you kidding me?
It says at the bottom.
So the very essence of this resolution is that the procedure that was applied, the trial out of Roberts that was applied was not followed correctly. Therefore, it is not valid. It has to be null and void because it was not followed correctly. And everything that I quoted in my resolution points out where the trial.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Your bottom line is you want to throw out the bylaws, so you want to throw out the trial.
No.
What do you want to do?
Because the trial was not done correctly, I want to
God.
reinstate Dale, and be it the will of the organization, they can do it. They can redo the trial proceedings under the correct rules, but because the rules were incorrect, the judgment against Dale should not stand.
Yes, another question.
We already have a hand up first.
Okay.
Point of information, doesn't the bylaws call it all meetings? All, A-L-L, all meetings shall be posted?
And a meeting for that trial was not posted, and a few other meetings.
Oh, for the love of
I'm just gonna let my parliamentarian answer this question. Okay, so that was a question. So the answer is that all meetings do have to be posted. An executive session is not required, if I understand that correctly from my parliamentarian.
But a special session is, and this was a special session because it was outside of a regular meeting.
All right, this is.
Bylaws say all meetings.
I'm a relatively new member to this club, and I've received a lot of emails on pro and con. Pro and con what, I don't know exactly, except that it appears to be a lot of effort to remove one man from the board. Why that man is being removed from the board has not really been enunciated or discussed. I think that the bylaws that were voted on and composed were basically concocted and written in order so that these events could take place, so that one man could be removed. Why that man is being removed, I still don't understand.
And they're.
But anyway, from what I understand from Mr. Pacetto, it seems like you are for keeping Mr. Atterbury on the board. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that's what the whole thing is about. Either he keeps him on the board or he goes. So that's it.
I think that we've had 2 for and 2 against. There's a gentleman in the back.
Point information?
Yes.
Isn't the point of the bylaws so that Robert's rules isn't what we're running the board under? Don't the bylaws supersede Robert's rules?
They absolutely do.
So why are we voting on, or considering voting on Robert's rules that's contradictory to the bylaws? That's all I want to know. If we all voted on the bylaws and they passed, I'd
Yes.
just like to remind everybody.
And Mr. Pell would like to explain to you about the bylaw.
No, I don't want to explain to you about the bylaws, they're self-explanatory. What I want to explain to you is in the bylaws, we are going to have a special election tonight by secret ballot. It's on the schedule, and it is about the exact same thing. This is totally redundant in asking for just a vote. This was planned. Mr. Atterbury's going to get his chance to stand up to this, but we're only going to do it after you find out what the charges are. This is Nancy Pelosi territory here. Vote on it and find out what it said later.
Now, Richard, at a recent executive board meeting, you said that we would proceed without discussion to a vote.
This isn't discussion.
No, I'm asking, did you just say that Mr. Atterbury would be allowed to discuss?
No, I didn't say.
Okay, so you intimated that he would have a chance.
He's entitled to vote.
Okay,
There's no
but no
discussion.
chance, okay. Please, I'll recognize the point of information.
Point of information, Mr. Pell.
Really?
Isn't it true that what will happen later tonight, is we'll go into executive session, the charges in the case against Mr. Atterbury will be made. There will
not
be
gonna
no
go into
opportunity
executive
for him to
session.
rebut it. There will be no debate whatsoever. Ballots will be passed out and a vote will be taken. However, with respect to this resolution here, we actually get to have a debate. This is a process that is covered in Robert's Rules of Order.
Answering the information?
And my question is it true that there will be no debate and no discussion and there will be no defense of Mr. Atterbury tonight?
The debate he's asking you to have is not on Mr. Atterbury's actions or the charges against him. It's on the bylaws. We've already passed the bylaws. What we have to do is say, we had the trial, he was found guilty by the majority of the board, actually 2/3 vote of the board, and what you have to do is determine that the punishment suit the crime. You You can't know that without knowing what the crime is. We are not gonna redo the trial. We spent 8 hours in trial with 8 witnesses called. We are not gonna redo the trial.
And
All you're gonna do is determine is the punishment suitable to the charges. And no one up here wants to talk about
The
the
answer is
charges.
no, there was a point of order in the back of the room.
I would like to call the members of the court. This is not parliamentary procedure that we're doing right here. It's just a knockdown, drag-out fight. We need to do this with some dignity. This is about our club. I am tired of the emails. I am tired of the, listen to this person, listen to that person. Enough of this. We need to do this in a professional manner. If nothing else, we need to call in a mediator and have somebody from the outside look at this.
Why didn't you make a
No.
motion to that effect?
Okay, and the last debate, the last discussion that I see is Michelle.
Shut up.
Hey!
Shut up. Don't you tell me.
Sergeant at Arms, please.
Call the members to order.
Sergeant at Arms, Ronnie Stapleton.
Oh, go ahead.
Ronnie Stapleton.
I give you.
Hey, let's treat each other with civility and respect, please.
Okay, hold on.
I'm just trying to clarify the resolution that we're being asked to vote on. The resolution itself that we're asking to vote, yes or no on, is whether or not there should be a whole new trial conducted. Yes, it is. No? According to Robert's Rules of Order, you are saying that the trial that was conducted should be null and void based on Robert's Rules of Order, but we can still do another trial under Robert's Rules of Order. Is that correct?
That's not the choice of the club. That's not part of my resolution.
Is your resolution, read the last line of your resolution, is the resolution that the club should, this last trial should be null and void because it was not conducted in accordance with Robert Rules of Order?
No, I said that Mr. Dale Atterbury must be acquitted of all charges and that he should be reinstated as an officer of Arkansas.
Because he was not, because
Negligence of the executive board to conduct a fair trial proceeding.
under Robert's Rules of Order, not our bylaws.
However, the precedent has already been set by the board by going to a trial. The precedent has been set by the board already.
And the
So we
trial
must
has been
adhere by
held.
the rules of the trial. In Robert's rules. Because they are.
Point of information.
Oh, the question is
She's got the floor.
Okay. So you're stating that we will hear the charges, and since I was one of the witnesses and you wouldn't allow me to speak at the trial, we can only hear the charges, but none of the evidence, and no one, he cannot defend himself, and there's no evidence of his innocence. It'll just be because you were one of the accusers and you were the judge. That's the way it will be.
I think we've defined what's going to happen later. We need to resolve the issue of the resolution on the floor. And there has been a question called, all in favor of ending debate and moving to a vote on this issue. Ending debate, please
What's
say
the
aye.
issue? What's
Any opposed to ending debate?
Nay.
I think the ayes have it. And we'll now go to a vote on this resolution. If you vote yes for this resolution, then I think we can basically say that it's going to be a null and void, except on the actions of the board.
What?
I think we can handle the resolution If you adopt the resolution says that due to the gross negligence of the board of ARC in conducting a trial proceeding not in accordance with R&R, that Mr. Dale Atterbury be reinstated as an officer. And so a vote and acquitted of all charges. So a vote to accept this resolution, a yes vote to accept this resolution will send that message. it would be the position of the club. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Yay!
Standing vote.
That was it. Just because you can yell louder. This is crazy. Oh, it's on dreamed up the legislative responsibility. Really? Oh, welcome to the rat race. And yes, this is Nicholas and part of our.
All right.
Welcome
You called the question.
Steve Willie called the question.
What's the question?
All right. There was a second. Okay. Mr. Eastman, yes.
I move for that segregated ballot, secret ballot.
Okay, well, let me just take a moment of personal privilege as a chair here to explain what's going on. All right, so Mr. Wiley is legislative vice president. Okay, under the new bylaws, the legislative vice president can have somebody bring forward a resolution. Okay, that resolution is just like it works in the county parties, everything else, state party, you have to go through, that there's debate for it, there's debate up or down. Okay, the way this evening was worked out and the way that it was stated in the trial document that Mr. Atterbury received the board when, I believe, was that there would be a special time tonight where the charges were read. Mr. Atterbury, Mr. Eastland Mr. Atterbury, Mr. Pell will get to speak, or Mr. Eastland will get to speak on behalf of Mr. Atterbury. And one person, the people, they get to speak, and then there's an up or down simple majority vote to either uphold the board's decision or to reverse the board's decision. Now that he has a resolution here, the charges have not been read to you. So at this point, this resolution would now supersede, according to my parliamentarian, that this resolution would serve in place. Now, you have not been read the charges. The choice is yours. You can either vote by secret ballot, which is what we're going to do if we vote, or you can vote this down and we can come back to it in 30 minutes and talk about it again. The choice is the body's. That choice is not mine, that is not theirs. Yes.
Can we read the charges?
Yes.
That's we cannot read the charges during this resolution. The charges do not. Well, because, okay, hold. All right, so the debate has ended, just as Mr. Eastland just said. We are in the middle of a vote. That vote has to be taken. Nothing else can be said to you other than what are we going to do here? The choice is going to be yours as a body. So you're either going to vote to support this resolution and to adopt this we're going to do it by secret ballot because that vote was too close to call. I call for a standing vote. We're actually going to do secret ballot. I'm the chair. Okay. So the way this is going to work is we're going to do a secret ballot. You're either going to vote to sustain this resolution, which will supersede what's going to happen later, so what's going to happen later is not going to happen at that point, or you're going to vote this resolution down, and then we're going to go through the rest of the agenda, and we're going to do the rest of the business, introducing candidates, talking about the golf tournament, everything else, and then we will come back and vote on this with the charges being read whenever we get to that special order. The choice is yours.
We need to, in order to do this, we need a quorum count.
Jody, how many do we have signed in? All right, hold on.
Quorum call.
How many current members?
Just 1 second. The quorum count is 50. There were 88 present. 29 visitors, so we had 88 present, so we had a quorum to do business. How many have left? All right, well then okay, we need a 50 to do, we need 50 to have a quorum. There were 88 present, there were 29 visitors, just for the records. Now, if you're still a member and you are in this room at this point in time, I need for you to stand. We will count you based on your badge.
Oh, I don't have my
Mr.
badge
Maxwell,
on.
will you help me count? Based on badge.
I've got my badge out there.
Make me count this side, I'll count this side.
I'm kind of doing stuff here.
Where's it at, Kelly?
It's up there. Or the girl has it. I don't know. I used to use this. I don't use my badge. Excuse me? Excuse me? Okay. I guess I'm... My badge is back there. Okay.
All right, we do have a quorum. We do have 83 members present. You may be seated. At this point in time, we are going to have ballot. Yes,
You
ma'am?
said there were 50 members.
No, there's 54 quorum. We had 88 present. There are now 83 members currently in this room. Nobody, if you leave this room, you will not be allowed to vote. If they're outside of the room right now, they're not allowed back in. So Sergeant at Arms, lock the door. Fair enough. There were 83 present. There will be 83 ballots passed out. There will be 83 ballots returned. Then we will have a committee count those ballots, and then we will come back with a decision. Okay, whoa. All right, let me clarify how this is working. So you're taking a secret ballot. If you write down yes, that means you are supporting this resolution. If you write down no, then you are not supporting this resolution. Does anybody have any questions on how this works? And sir at the back in the red shirt, you just came in the door. I'm going to have to ask you to leave this room until voting is over. Nobody let anybody in that door.
I just made this.
Yes means that you were supporting the resolution, and no means you are not supporting the resolution.
You could hold that.
About voting yes. Voting yes for adoption.
All right. Voting is going on. All right. If you have your folded ballot, please pass it into this box that Mr. Wiley is carrying around. I'm going to appoint Zach Maxwell and let's see, who else? Mauricio Ascenti. Zach, those two will be my counters. You're going to count the votes. Actually, we need a third person just to make sure. So who else am I going to pick on? Come on. I don't know your name, but come on. No one that's out of this room can come back in.
I went to get, they're not letting me in, I just went to get everybody, and now I'm outside.
All right. So I've got 3 counters. I've got Jeanette Speed, I've got Mauricio Vicente, and Zach Maxwell. They are fair people. You got any ballots and walk us through? Here, Mr. Wiley.
Now this is for the resolution, right?
Has anybody not turned in their ballot? If you, okay, hold on. We've got 2 people back here. Pass me your ballots. Last call for ballots. If there's more than 83, we will be taking another vote. All right. Anybody else back here? This is in Chicago. I know, right? Okay, not that great. All right, hold on. Ballot. The doors can now be open.
We might need you for another vote.
Order. All right. While the ballots are being counted, we're going to continue on with business. So, what's next on our agenda? After legislative. We have got the golf report. Oh my goodness. Ralph Sobel, would you come on up here? Let's give a hand to Ralph Sobel. I've been told this is the most successful golf tournament ever. I'm looking forward to hearing the numbers. Ralph, take it over. Look at that hat.
It was huge. Anyway, the golf tournament was very successful. I'd like to thank all the sponsors. You can see their names around the room, particularly David Doyle at Elite Construction Pros, who gave the largest single donation in the 9-year history of the golf tournament. Wonderful resource for the club going into the future as well. And since this vote's already been taken, I'll take the liberty of mainly congratulating Ann on the board, Ann Coker. Yes. I'm sorry, Ann Coker. Ann Coker. Ann has done a magnificent job running the golf tournament, running the golf tournament. In my 9 years doing the golf tournament, no president, and they've all been good, but no president has worked her little fanny off like Ann did, in spite of all the things going on in this tournament. However the vote comes out, she's to be congratulated for keeping the club's best interest at heart through a very difficult time. And I want to mainly congratulate her. And then I'd like to congratulate Mr. Pell here, who's the first treasurer in 9 years, who's actually been allowed to give me the figures on the golf tournament, because the other golf treasurers did not report to the president. They reported to somebody who we're voting on now, who would not release those figures. So congratulations, Ann, Richard. You've all voted. I hope the vote comes out. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's mine. It was a wonderful golf tournament. It set a record by far, raising the most money ever for the PAC. And we really want to thank the sponsors and people.
Are we gonna say how much?
Before you leave, Rob, you left out the important part,
Yeah,
didn't you?
How much?
Ralph is a real hero. He's like the Donald Trump of golf tournaments. The net proceeds from that golf tournament were $10,438.64.
And I'll say it one more time. Ann worked her ass off for that. People opposed to Ann did not.
And you know, the chairman also.
What was the growth?
The gross. Oh, yeah, okay, let me go ahead and do that. This is combined on the agenda with the treasurer's report, so let me go ahead and do it. The total income from the golf tournament was $15,265. We got expenses of $4,826.36 for our net profit of $10,438.64. That brings our PAC total, so I'll finish the treasurer's report here, to $29,840.60. This club is a powerhouse, and you can see why there's a lot of people who want to take it back over.
Can we get a list of all the sponsors so that we can,
The list of sponsors are on the wall.
no, all of them?
We will have those ready. I've got to get the whole sponsors together. I would like to say something to thank Ralph Sobel for such hard work, for Richard Pell, the rest of our golf committee, Lisa Callahan. And I want to also say is that I got no help from the people that are complaining the loudest. While we were busy working to make this successful, I did get some money from Mr. Wiley, but he was out of town. I really do appreciate everybody that stepped up to support the club. And from what I understand, the reason they did support the club was because they were backing this club. So I want to thank you very much for anybody who participated. And if you were a sponsor or you participated or donated, would you please stand up so we can give you a big thank you.
If you were a sponsor, please stand up. Or you participated, please stand up.
If you were a volunteer.
One of the reasons the tournament has been so successful is that we're able to reach outside just the membership in this room, most of whom have other lives, they don't play golf. We're all a little older. There's only a handful of people who actually participate here. Thanks to Ann, two other people she didn't mention, Judge
Jerry
Hennigan and Beth Polis. They reached out across all of Tarrant County to lawyers, judges, who all recognize how important this club is, not just in Arlington, but throughout Tarrant County for supporting all our elected officials. And the outreach beyond this club is, Ann's the leader on that.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for that. All right. Yes, Mr. Eastland.
Is it true that the majority, in fact, a large majority of the participants in the golf tournament are not members of the club?
It's a fundraiser.
I'm not sure. I don't think I've done a calculation on that. The last check I got in today came from a Dallas law firm.
It's always been that way.
I did a calculation.
It's an outrage. It's an outrage.
It's a fundraiser.
All right. Really quick, I want to move on to the members report. Thank you, Ralph. Actually, let's give him one more hand for this golf tournament. This was great. All right. Let's move on to the membership real quick.
So special thank you to Lisa Callahan as well.
All right.
One of the main sponsors.
Move on to the membership report. All right. So I got to get my notes here, but pull the slide for the directory. No, pull the slide. All right. So the 40th anniversary directory is coming up. The deadline technically to submit an ad was September the 30th. Given that it's October, election season's ramping back up, we're going to extend it just about another 7 to 10 days. So by October 10th, we need all of you, if you're going to be a sponsor, we need that in there now. Yes, Ms. Dagliardi?
Did you say people left, they wasn't allowed back in?
No, they were allowed back in after the voting was done. Okay, so if you want a full page in this directory, it will be $100. If you want a half page, it will be $60. And if you want a third of a page, it's $40. So send your artwork to arc@arlingtonrepublicanclub.com, the typical address is on the bottom of all your emails that you get from ARC. If you need that, we can also send out a reminder to the membership on your email, letting you know that we're going to extend it till the 10th. We will do that next week. Anyways, so. All right, we do have a count. All right, so the ballots have been counted. The yes vote was 35 to sustain the resolution, and the no vote was 49. There was one abstain. So that means the resolution did not pass, and we're going to continue on with business, and we'll deal with this again as soon as we get to it on the agenda item. All right, so Now, I want to call up Dolores Pell, or Ann, to do, now to 40th anniversary.
Okay, Arlington Republican Club is 40 years old. And with that, we're going to have a birthday party or anniversary party gala at the Rolling Hills Country Club. It's November 6th, and tickets are $35, for general admission, $75. Our guest speaker is going to be Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. He had to leave at 7:30, so we had to kind of change venues because we didn't have a keynote speaker. And we're also going to be honoring our past presidents, and I want to thank all of the past presidents because I know I've been president for 4 years, and it's been an honor to serve you. Hasn't always been easy, but I've enjoyed every minute of it, and I love every single one of our members. You've made me feel very special. I didn't know very many of you when I started, so this is going to be special. So is the past presidents. And Mark Davis is going to be our MC, so I want to thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you November 6th, so please show up. We're going to have a...
Mr.
Yes.
I read something in the newsletter email that we're now going to recognize the outstanding Republican official of the year.
It's not official, it's going to be Republican actress. We changed the wording, but it's going to be Mr. Craig Arlington.
So you can, was this something that you decided to do?
No, we did that last year. We recognized Bill Zedler last year. This year we're recognizing someone else.
Well, we're going to change it to, it's not a Republican official anymore. How do you arrive at the decision to come up with these awards?
The Gala Committee did it.
All by themselves?
Thank you, yes.
Who's on the Gala Committee?
Well, Mr. Wiley.
Oh, it's a secret.
Okay, no, it's not a secret. It's myself, Doris Pell, Rhonda Taylor, William, and Heather Gilbert, Jan Tyler, Barbara Nash. Because he gives a lot for the Republican Party. Okay, that's enough on that. We're moving on.
You can talk to her after that, though. Please do, actually. All right, next, the moment you've been waiting for, and I know Mr. Decker's looking at me like he wants to, stab me or something here, which I don't blame him at this point. All right, nominations committee report. Press up on that slide. Press up. All right, Mr. Decker.
Okay.
There you go.
I was going to wear a tie for the occasion because that's what I wore all day today, meeting with a client. Nominations committee report. Okay. To start with, I need to thank, you all need to thank your nominations committee. Consisted of, in no particular order, Marjorie Moffett, Willie Busby, Ralph, works better without my glasses, Ralph Stoll, Rhonda Taylor, and myself. At our first meeting, I was selected chair, that's why I'm up here talking to you. One thing that has changed apparently from previous years is that this year the meetings were closed. I believe this was a very worthwhile change because it meant that we could simply discuss what needed to be discussed. We had multiple meetings, many telephone calls, many emails, and we ate an awful lot of oatmeal raisin cookies. They were really good. And they kept us going. Anyway, that said, notwithstanding all the emails that have been floating around today, there was no grand conspiracy and there was no secret agenda. We did exactly what we set out to do. I remember what I said 2 months ago at this meeting when I was elected to be on the nominating committee. I said I was going to be looking for strong leadership without an agenda. Without an agenda, a person who was focused on the best interest of a great club, who was willing to work hard, and if we could get some fresh blood, that would be wonderful. We believe that we have in fact done just that. The slate that we're nominating is on the slide there. Ralph Stoll for president. They drafted me for legislative affairs, Heather Gilbert for membership, Gerald Byrne for programs, William Busby for publications, Alex Gibb for secretary, and in a repeat performance, Richard Bell as treasurer. That is the slate. We're proud of it and looking forward to the election next month. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can we rate how many is forward and is?
Actually, that's a good question. Let's do that right now, actually. Oh, that's true. Never mind. Mr. Eastland just made it a point that it's inappropriate. We'll have an election next month. Fair enough. Point taken.
We asked
Okay, is it
Lindsay was
appropriate or
removed
not?
as the presidential nominee, and what facilitated that?
I'm going to leave that to the chairman.
The deliberations were private, and they're going to remain private. This was a very difficult decision, and we made it.
All right. Moving forward, now it is time for candidate election special guests. Let's move to special guests really quick. Okay, candidates are going to be running all spring and all fall and all spring, so let's do special guests real quick. If we have any special guests here, the president says she has one. No?
Yes, she's a special guest.
How many of y'all remember Dennis Michael Lynch when we had that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the lady that brought him to us right here. This is his media director, Rhonda Cheney, and she's from Arizona. Rhonda, come up here and say that. Come up here.
I just came to say hello to Ann, so this is embarrassing. Nice to see you all. I hear great things about this group, so wish I was in Dallas.
Go, Dennis, go. Has he made any more DVDs?
Yes. Yeah, he has the next DVD's out.
We come to America 3.
No, I don't know.
Guess it gives you a Google project to go research.
But it is out, and it's great, and also talks a lot about the Canadians.
Get a business card. All right. Next, I want to have our current elected officials and precinct chairs introduced. Zach Maxwell's going to help me pass around the microphone. All right. If you are a precinct chair or elected official, please stand up.
Yes.
And Zach will get to you.
Deborah Gagliari, precinct chair, 2319.
Bill Eastman, precinct chair, 2160.
Joe Barnett, precinct chair, 2263, and wanted to mention we've got these flyers for a luncheon that the National Center for Policy Analysis, headed by former retired Colonel Alan West, is sponsoring, and we hope the mayor of Irving will be there, and hope all of y'all will be. Thank you.
Mark Hanson, 2055. Kevin Madawi, 2280, and I will be nominated from the floor for president of the Arlington Republican Club.
While he's passing, William Leslie, House District 90 area leader, precinct 4256.
Dolores Pale, 2223.
Dory O'Brien, 2466 in Grand Prairie.
Hi, Dory. Hello.
Mark Roberto, 2309.
Bill Bailey, 2303.
David Cook, Mayor of Lanesville.
McDowell, 2219.
Leslie Racine, 2112.
Bill Youngby, 2613, and area leader for House 101.
Steve Appel, 4528, SRAC 9 committee man.
David Halverson, SRAC 12, committee man, and 3038, precinct chair.
Patricia, 2006. Patricia Baca Bennett, candidate for the 360 Judicial District Court.
Precinct chair, 2145.
Lorraine Bethke, 2358.
David Lambert, 612,
Georgia Stapleton, 270.
I'm David Wiley, I'm precinct chair in 2305, and I'm the area leader in House District 96 of Bill Zebra. And I'm also a candidate for the Tarrant County Party Chairman.
I was aware of that. I'm Tim O'Hare, and I'm also a candidate for Tarrant County GOP Chairman.
All right, are we done? Anybody else that needs to announce themselves? I mean, I feel like some of you like to talk. Oh, Mark Roberto. Okay, announcements will go on right now.
I would like to say
say something. I just noticed that there's a lot of people here that are not precinct chairs. And I know all these precinct chairs, wait a minute, I know all these precinct chairs sometimes have a hard time getting clerk help. So if you're not wanting to be a precinct chair, you might want to volunteer to help out with the election.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? I don't know about y'all, but I've been a judge so many times and everything else. It takes a lot of work, and the pay is really bad. I think you get $0 an hour, and after a couple of years, it goes up to 0. I mean, it's a great deal.
Can't beat the pay for volunteer for the Arlington Republican.
All right. Now, I want to mention something real quick that Mr. Wiley just brought to my attention. If you are filing for re-election for precinct chair, that goes on through November, correct?
No, December.
Open now through December, okay. And so if you want to file for re-election, I say the earlier the better. It deters an opponent. The earlier you file for re-election, if you have nobody in your precinct, then file. If you don't like what your precinct chair is doing, then run against them. It goes through like the middle of December, I believe it's like something like that. We'll get the clarifications for the minutes. Okay. All right. So, anyways, Mr. Atwell.
Yes. Ian, is it a good time to read the resolution? She's got a resolution we passed. Bill, is there a resolution?
Okay, yeah, come forward. At this point, we're going to look at the resolution that the SREC passed and all their bills up.
Between the chairs. Ian's bringing me the resolution.
Oh, Morris has the flyer.
Okay, let's bring in the resolution.
Bring it back here. Your five SREC members from Tarrant County presented and passed this resolution. It was unanimous. Turn it sideways here. Whereas State Representative Bill Zedler was on the phone with Tarrant County Precinct Chairman Chip Pierce on August 7th, 2015. Mr. Pierce's speech began to slur during their conversation, and Mr. Pierce became unresponsive during that same conversation. Whereas Mr. Representative Zedler, having been trained as a medical professional during his service in Vietnam, recognized Mr. Pierce's symptoms after numerous attempts failed to get Mr. Pierce to respond. Representative Zedler drove to Mr. Pierce's home, could not get Mr. Pierce to respond, dialed 911. Whereas the paramedics arrived reaching the door to find Mr. Pierce unresponsive on the floor. Mr. Pierce was rushed to John Peter Smith Hospital, where he is diagnosed and treated for a stroke. Whereas due to Representative Zedler's concern for Mr. Pierce and quick response, Mr. Pierce has made a remarkable recovery. Now therefore be it resolved that the State Republican Executive Committee of the Republican Party of Texas hereby recognizes State Representative Bill Zedler, House District 96, Arlington, Texas, for his heroic efforts saving the life of Tarrant County Republican Party Chair Chip Pierce on August 7th, 2014.
Really quick, for those of you who know Chip, he's our county Republican Party, he deals with our finance chairman. Chip Pierce is a great asset to our community and to our party. I'm thankful that Bill Zedler was able to get to that in time and was able to get the paramedics there. So whenever you see him around town, tell him thank you, because he literally saved Chip's life. So, all right.
Plus he recuperated at my house. Yes, he did.
You might mention too that Deanna Zimmerman's retirement parties this week. She's been missing.
Second.
Deanna, you might mention Deanna's retirement party.
Oh yeah, Deanna from Zedler's office is retiring this week. So, okay, what is that? Oh yeah, and Bill Labors is retired as the chief of police. All right.
Same day.
So, whenever you see him, tell him happy retirement. Happy campaign. All right.
Yes, yes. I know Ann mentioned our 40th anniversary, and I have some flyers, but we have something kind of exciting. In addition to Dan Patrick, we have a very special guest who will be flying in from Australia, Nick Adams, which was the speaker at Lincoln Day dinner about 5 years ago. He will be flying in. He also has honorary Texas citizenship. So it's going to be very, very neat. And if you, at 40-year anniversary, it is Ruby. You get a Ruby. Well, that stands for Republicans United by Years. So here, I got flyers.
Come now, we're gonna have a big party to celebrate.
It's gonna be great. Yep.
All right, so there is a slide. Let me pull it up real quick. I set up an Eventbrite for this. You go to 40th birthday, arc40thbirthday.eventbrite.com. You can register online. Now, I have to tell you that Eventbrite does like to make money off of you. So if you charge, like I think a $35 ticket for general admission comes up to like 37 something. So it's actually cheaper for you to write a check. We get that to us. No corporate checks are accepted, but I'm glad they paid the rest of your money. So anyway, all right. So now, are there any more announcements? Seeing none, we get to move on to what we were just in. All right. So, yes, ma'am. All right. So the quorum amount is 50. So I know I see some empty chairs in here, so I'm sure some people have left. At this point, seal the door, Sergeant at Arms. And we are going to see if we have a quorum in this room. So if you are a member, please stand. I'm going to have you count off. We're going to go straight across. If you have a badge on, I will look and see everybody to see if you have a badge on.
What?
All right.
Oh, yeah.
After you are counted, after you count yourself off, we're going to start right here. We're going to start, and as soon as you say your number, you're going to sit. That way we have it done. All right, start with you.
1, 2,
3, 4. Oh, yes, go. 4,
5, 6, 7,
8,
9,
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, let's start right here now. 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, let's say your numbers.
26,
27, 28, 30,
31.
Have a seat.
I counted.
32,
33,
34, 35, 36,
37, 39, 40, 41,
42, 43, 44,
45, 46, 47, 48, 49.
We have a quorum. No need to keep counting.
55.
59, 60, 62, 60, 64, 5, 67, 68, 69. All right, we have 73. You were not in for the quorum count. She was not in for the quorum count. I'm not asked her to leave.
Nope.
Follow the rules here. 73. Oh. That's all I wanted to see. Do we have a quorum in this room presently? All right. Right. That's what I was checking. Everybody can name the streets. All right. So we have 74. 75. All right. So now we're good. All right. Yeah. That one back there. I just pointed out. All right. Now. All right. So now here we go. So here's what's going to happen. I did not recognize. Let me finish saying. No, I said just 1 second. We'll go move forward. All right, hold on. So I don't know how this is going to play out. It's up to the membership. What I will say is this is going to be a civil meeting. Sergeant at Arms will remove you if this becomes uncivil at any given time. We will respect each other, and we will make this a fair process. If this is not fair, you will be removed, and you will not be allowed back in there, or your vote will not be counted. So keep that in mind. Anyways, as we move forward, Ms. Gagliardi.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for a standing rule on consideration of the appeal of the removal from office of Program Vice President Dale Atterbury.
What are we voting on?
Standing rule on the consideration of the appeal of the removal from office of Program Vice President Dale Atterbury. The consideration of the appeal shall be an executive session. The question shall be, shall the removal from office of Mr. Dale Atterbury by decision of the executive board be sustained? The appellant, Mr. Atterbury, and the executive board shall each be entitled to counsel, even if the counsel is not a member of the club. One or more representatives of the executive board shall have 3 minutes to state the decision of the executive board, the results of the board stating the ayes and nays and the grounds for removal. The accused officer, Dale Atterbury, or his representative shall have 5 minutes to make a statement of the case. One or more representatives of the executive board shall have 5 minutes to make a statement in rebuttal. Mr. Atterbury and any non-members shall leave the meeting for the remainder of the session. Debate shall alternate between each side of the question, with each member speaking for a maximum of 2 minutes at a time, and no member being allowed to speak more than twice except for privileged motions. The previous question shall not be called until at least 5 members have had a chance to speak on at least one side, unless no more members desire to speak on either side, or if no member desires to speak in opposition of the previous speaker. The vote on the question shall be the standing vote, and shall take a majority of ayes votes to confirm the removal of Mr. Atterbury from office.
The hell was all that?
All right. You'll get a copy. Can I see that real quick so I can explain to the membership? All right. So there is a motion on the floor, and we have to go into the, yes, Mr. Eastland, second. We have to go, and I'm going to explain it to you, and then we have a chance to have debate on that. And in the process of fairness, please do not say anything until you've been called on by the chair. That way this process goes as smoothly as possible. Thank you. All right, so the consideration of bills shall be an executive session. I'm going to reread most of this just so they understand. Question shall be, shall the removal from office of Mr. Dale Atterbury by decision of the executive board be sustained? The appellate, Mr. Atterbury, and the executive board shall each be entitled to counsel if counsel is not a member of the club. One or more representatives of the executive board shall have 3 minutes to state the decision of the executive board, the results of the vote of the board stating the ayes and nays, and the grounds for removal. The accused officer, Dale Atterbury, or his representatives shall have 5 minutes to make a statement of the case. One or more representatives of the executive board shall have 5 minutes to make a statement in rebuttal. Mr. Atterbury and any non-members shall leave the meeting room for the remainder of the session. So if you're not in the room, get to go out of the room. All right. Debates shall alternate between each side of the question, with each member speaking for a maximum of 2 minutes at a time, and no member being allowed to speak more than twice except for privileged motions. Previous questions shall not be called until at least 5 members have had a chance to speak on at least one side, unless no more members desire to speak on either side, or if no member desires to speak in opposition to the previous speaker. The vote on the question shall be by standing vote, and it shall take a majority of aye votes to confirm the removal of Mr. Atterbury from office. Let me explain to you how this works without doing the standing rules, just so that you're aware of this. That's only fair. The way it works right now is we have Mr. Eastland, I believe, would be Mr. Atterbury's side, and then we would have somebody from the board, and they would explain the charges, and they would then speak for a minute, and then you would have one vote. You would have a vote to either sustain the board's decision or to not. Mr. Atterbury would not get to speak, and it would be a simple majority vote. This makes it to where we kind of go into debate mode, and kind of becomes more like a, I don't want to use the word trial, but I mean, it gives you a chance to have talking about it, everybody gets to speak, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm not saying that like that, but it gives a chance for everything to be heard. So, at this point in time, I will entertain debate. Is there a question or a comment?
I'd just like to call the motion.
No.
Can't.
He can't call the motion.
Mr. Chairman, Bill Eastman, I'd like to raise. I would like to rise to make an amendment. In,
to what?
Item number 10, where it says the The vote on the question shall be by standing vote. I would like to strike the word standing vote and replace it with the word ballot.
Secret ballot.
So this is going to.
Second that.
Okay, hold on. So generally, you would have this on the screen. This would have been submitted. It would have been typed up. Tonight is a very special moment. There is another copy that I give to the secretary right now. It's Mr. Eastland. Okay, hold on. So as we're doing this, you're not going to be able to see it necessarily in action until she gets it typed up. So that kind of makes it a little bit more difficult if you're a visual person like we got to discuss. All right. So he made a motion to an amendment to strike the word standing vote. I mean the word standing right before vote in item 10 to ballot vote. Is there any debate on it? Mr. Eastland, speak to it. It's your motion.
Well, I think having it by ballot is not standing vote. Do you think?
Is this a third or a second vote before we do the third vote? I'm misunderstanding. Or is this the final vote?
Okay.
Well, I mean, the initial.
All right.
The reason I'm wondering is, I printed up 160 ballots. If you're going to have 3 elections,
This
3 votes, excuse me. The rules are in the bylaws.
What are the bylaws? So we know the difference.
All right, hold on. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, State Representative Bill Zeppelin walked in. I know we're in the middle of amendment and voting, but can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Zeppelin, would you come forward? Secure the door, no one in or out.
Hey, listen, thank you very much. You know, it was a real, you know, it's one of those things where you think, wait a minute, I just did what I should have done, but it was just great that I was able to do what I was able to do. And we love Tipper, and you know, we wouldn't want to do it without him, that's for sure. God bless y'all. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Zeppelin, we are in the process of voting, so he doesn't have a badge, so he's not voting.
I accept his amendment,
All right.
and I'd like to talk about it.
All right. The author of the original standing rule has accepted Mr. Eastland's amendment. She would like to speak on it. She does have that. She has the floor.
I will accept it as a written. The resolution, and the reason that I want this is because we've had a situation where he will not be able to defend himself. We've already had another board member removed because she failed to obey orders. Someone went to her office and told her to do something.
That is not
Do not
true.
interrupt, that's rude, and just clap.
Lying is rude too.
It is the truth. And
Be respectful of each other's
Yes.
opinion.
Address the speaker.
what we need here is order. We have bylaws and we have rules, and we need to make sure that they are followed. That included
Here's what a
posting
concept.
that the meetings even happened, and this, at least you can say when you leave here, you heard them out. You can vote either way you want to, but at least you can say you gave the accused a chance to speak, and that's what the American way is about.
All right. Anyone else want to speak? Now she's spoken before that. I will take somebody who wants to speak against this. Now again, this is the striking of the word standing.
No, I accepted that as a friendly amendment. So
Okay, you accept. Okay. My apologies. My apologies.
Point of order.
Hold on.
Point of order. Is this what you're essentially saying? Let's see if I understand. What you're essentially saying is this is going to be the final vote, but Mr. Atterbury gets to speak and we get to speak. So it's kind of a mini closing statement, argument thing type thing.
No, that's
So
not.
we're going to have another vote after this again?
No.
And what the hell are you wanting?
I think she is trying to bring about a rule by which we will operate tonight.
which I don't think anyone stated a rule by which
I
we'll
don't think
operate
anybody knows
tonight.
what's going on.
And she's trying to establish the rule by which we will operate.
The procedure.
And that we'll have these discussions the way it's been described. So the vote now on the standing rule is about, will we have the discussion in this manner? And if we say no, we won't have a discussion in this manner. I say yes, we will.
Just a second. Okay, hold on. Parliamentary just stated this rule would only be for tonight. It would not be a permanent rule. This creates the rule just for tonight. Ms. Tice.
The way I understand it is you're removing one word. You're taking, they're asking for a ballot rather than a standing vote.
So that's been accepted.
Point of order.
Yes, ma'am.
The chair had already stated the question, so there can't be a friendly amendment. We have to vote on the amendment.
That is not correct. Is there a friendly amendment? There can be a friendly amendment to her because we were currently in debate. Somebody can strike a word and make an amendment. And then we have to have that. And then she accepted that. So now we're back to the actual original motion, which is create a standing rule.
The amended motion.
He called the vote before the amendment was allowed. So should this be voted on first?
Here we go. I've been up all night. My feet kind of hurt, but that's okay. What's bothering me is that my feet are cramping. I'm like, huh? I'm just like, what, my foot here? No, I'm good. Oh, James, I have your disc. Yes, it's right here. I just can't get it yet. Don't leave without it. I know.
All right, so, okay, just 1 second. Let me clarify. Okay, so he did call the question that was called, and he called it on her standing rule before Mr. Eastland made his amendment. And I did say that we needed to have debate. Error of the chair, I do apologize. Keep in mind, I'm in the bully pin up here, and I'm kind of trying to be at the front of this, and there's a lot of feelings on either side of this, so I apologize for my error. Mr. Eastland.
Yes, I'd like to speak on the
Okay, the question to call debate, and to call the question was actually done. So my parliamentarian.
Okay, you're saying
that was called. So.
Even though you said first that you didn't actually have the vote.
Well, but I'm not sure that this an apology actually works. It kind of does, and now that we kind of move forward, right? We allow debate, correct? Right. Now we're back to dealing with the original. Right, it was not valid at this point.
Shoot me now.
Hold on. Right, opposed to being next, we just had somebody speak in favor of it. So that's
The purpose of adopting a standing rule is to attempt to bring some order to the process and to make sure that we have a fair debate. That's why the rule is written the way it is. It allows us to at least bring the issue up, have back and forth pro and con, have at least some debate before the question is called, but also have a decision that if we're fed up with everybody talking, we can go ahead and call the question and have the vote. But the important thing about this rule is it allows debate of this body on this extremely important question. And I think that this is a good rule. Thank you.
And Mr. Eastland's called the question. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. So now the question's been called. Let me tell you what you're voting on. So this will be, I believe it's the majority vote, correct? Or 2/3? Majority. All right. So what you're voting on is now we are going to have a standing rule just for this evening, which would say that Mr. Atterbury, correct me, author, if I am mistaken on this at any time. We would now have the executive board will be entitled to counsel, even counsel one member of the club. So one or more members of the executive board will have 3 minutes to state the decision of the executive board, the results of the votes of the board, and the ayes and the nays, and the grounds for removal at that point. So in essence, we're creating discussion on this, okay? And then after that, the accused officer, Dale Atterbury's representatives would have 5 minutes to make a statement on their case. One or more representatives of the executive board will have 5 minutes to make a statement and rebuttal, okay? And then Mr. Atterbury and any non-members shall leave the meeting room for the remainder of the session. And then we would have debate. And debate would alternate between each side of the question. Each member would speak for a maximum of 2 minutes at a time, and no member being allowed to speak more than twice except for privileged motions. The previous question shall not be called until at least 5 members have had a chance to speak on at least one side, unless no more members desire to speak on either side, or if no members desire to speak in opposition to the previous speaker. Then the vote on the question shall be by ballot vote, and it shall take a majority of aye votes to confirm the removal of Mr. Atterbury from office. This is what, yes?
So we're going to have a debate, essentially we're going to retry the trial here. Don't you think that I shouldn't have to use my 3 minutes just to read the charges? Well, it should be, members be aware of the charges.
Sounds exactly right.
Yes. But they're not going to take part of our time to read it.
No.
Right now.
No, the rule starts, this follows Robert's Rules of Order. What's in Robert's is being followed.
And that's why we did that in the trial. This is the jury deliberation part that you're reading.
Well, the point about it, this body is the jury. And when they get,
No, that's not according to
We should at least be informed.
This is an appeal, and this is the court, and all of you all are the judges. You vote, it's like a jury. Yeah, and we should hear both sides. We shouldn't have an appeal process where only one side is heard, and nobody else gets to hear that. Plus, because you're a good body, you should debate what you're doing.
This is crazy.
Just 1 second. 1 second.
Hey, don't anybody leave, everybody sit back in, just go leave.
Oh.
We're going to be held prisoner.
I just have a point of information or clarification. As I remember, when Deborah Gagliardi read this motion originally, which seemed like a year ago, that probably took about 20 minutes, it appeared to me that what she was reading was contradictory. That the first and second sentences, it seemed that either way, that Dale Atterbury would be allowed to stay on the board. So I just want to be absolutely certain that the motion is consistent throughout, so that when everyone is voting, they know exactly what they're voting.
Okay.
Can I respond?
Yes.
Because I'm
And maybe I misunderstood.
Yes, you,
Okay.
yes, and I can understand that.
Okay.
Go ahead, please. Clarify your.
No, in no way. Is that what it means? All it is saying is that the people here who will be voting will hear both sides. They will hear the charges, and we limited it. 1 minute, 2 minutes?
I
But do you
apologize
really?
for my
No
misunderstanding.
problem. I'm glad you asked the question. In fact, it points out that's why people should hear both sides and get the information so they don't just go into it blindly or as they're told.
All right. So my parliamentarian tells me that this is a moot point if you're not following, that the bylaws would trump Robert's rules at this point. So and the chair is that I agree with that because the bylaws state it. And yes, sir.
God.
The bylaws trump
never gonna
Robert's
get
rules. But our specific bylaw that stated the means by which to resolve a complaint brought against a board member by 2 other board members was not sufficient to satisfy that complaint. And therefore, we had to go to Roberts and have 8 hours of a trial and witnesses because our bylaws were not sufficient. But now we're being told that our bylaws are sufficient to handle this part of it. The very last sentence says, may appeal to the body. And that in itself is going to keep anything from happening because it's an up or down vote. It was not enough in that bylaw
to state that 2/3 of the board would vote, and that the defendant would, or the accused would be allowed to present a defense. Instead, we had to go off into all sorts of paragraphs around that. But now, the bylaw is sufficient, because I guess it goes the way they want to go. All the questions.
Stop, y'all, we gotta go home.
All the questions.
Just had a vote by this very membership to say the bylaws were a sufficient way to handle this.
You
We
didn't
just
use
voted
the
it.
bylaws. You use Robert's rules, so you don't get to play both sides.
Oh, for the love of God.
Bylaws are overriding Robert's rules. Where the bylaws don't specifically address an issue, Robert's comes into play. You can't have a set of bylaws the thickness of Robert's rules.
So,
You just had to
so,
Hurry up and get it over with.
Let's do
order.
Kill it now.
You do it.
Okay, so at this point, we have to vote on this, because the motion is on the floor.
Tonight would be
Okay,
good.
so we're not going to have any more debate on this. Debate has been called. And we had the vote on calling the question, so now we've kind of gone into more debate, which is not the way it should work. All right, so the way this is going to work is, we are going to stand, if you vote aye, you are going to be voting to adopt this standing rule, which technically, okay. And then if you vote no, you will not be adopting this rule. Okay, so if you adopt this rule, there will be debate. The board will have a chance to present their defense, so will Mr. Atterbury, then there will be debate on either side of that. Limited.
Time.
Okay.
At least 31 minutes.
It's been read already.
In order? Okay, so I'm clarifying because it was asked to clarify. Okay, so the executive board would have 5 minutes to make a statement and rebuttal, and then members would have maximum 2 minutes to speak at a time. No member will be allowed to speak more than twice. All right, so at this point, I'm going to call for the votes. The standing vote. All in favor of adopting the standing rule, please stand.
For the record, I'm sitting.
There are 29. All opposed, please stand. To 31, the motion fails. All right, now I'm going to invite Richard Bell up, who will then present the board's decision on this, and we'll read the charges off to you, and then we will move forward with this.
I'm going to do the honorable thing here and do what we decided on the executive board meeting and just read the timeline and the charges of the trial. On August 12th, 2015, a closed special meeting was held by the ARC Board to present a motion to pass a resolution for charges against Dale Atterbury by 2 fellow board members. The resolution was discussed and it was passed by 5 aye votes, 1 nay vote, and 1 abstention. There were 7 members of the board present. At the meeting, a trial date was set for August 24th, 2015. The bylaws required to be within 14 days. It was. The resolution reads as follows. Resolution of complaint against an officer. Complaint. Conduct tending to injure the good name of the organization. Whereas Dale Atterbury, in his position as Arlington Republican Club Vice President of Programs, has used his position to damage the reputation of other board members and club members, as well as the Arlington Republican Club as a whole, we, the undersigned, propose that the following resolutions be voted on by the ARC Executive Board as per the club bylaws. Specification 1. Mr. Atterbury has sent out newsletters to members of the club with false and misleading statements regarding other board members, which by his own admission was for the purpose of ruining their reputations in the Tarrant County Republican Party. Specification 2. Mr. Atterbury has refused to furnish financial documentation in his possession as to club expenses to the new club treasurer, even though the documents have been requested. Specification 3. Mr. Atterbury refuses to acknowledge the new club treasurer in emails, preventing the treasurer from obtaining timely and pertinent club information to allow him to do his job. Specification 4. Mr. Atterbury has interfered with the duties of other officers of the club to intimidate them into leaving the club. Specification 5. Mr. Atterbury has broken club bylaws regarding who has authority to speak for the club by issuing several derogatory messages to club members about the club leadership and negative things about the club in general, and when warned of this infraction by the president, he continued to do it. Specification 6. By his own admission, Mr. Atterbury has had in his possession until May of 2015 a key to the club post office mailbox. He has had that key since 2003. His duties for the last 8 years should not have allowed him access to the post office box, and he failed to give the key to each new president since then, or even let them know that he had it. Specification 7. Mr. Atterbury has made it quite clear to club members and others in our political community that in his opinion, the current leadership of the board is inadequate to the job, and we have lost many members due to his statements and publications. Specification 8. Mr. Atterbury spoke to the press without approval from the president in violation of the bylaws. Be it resolved that a trial committee made up of the executive board is to be convened to determine guilt or innocence on these charges. If Mr. Atterbury is found guilty on any or all specifications, he will be offered the chance to resign from his position as vice president of programs. If he refuses to resign, he will be expelled from the board and may take the findings of this board to the membership body for the ARC bylaws, where a majority of the members may overrule the board's decision. Be it further resolved that Mr. Atterbury is hereby cited to appear at said time for trial as determined by the executive board to show cause why he should not be expelled from his position as an officer in the Arlington Republican Club. Those are the charges. On August 24th, the trial was convened by the board in closed session. The trial rules were taken directly out of Robert's Rules of Order 11th edition. After 4 hours, a motion was made to have a continuance until the following Monday, August 31st. On August 31st, the trial was continued in closed session. At the end of the trial, the board voted that Mr. Atterbury was guilty of all specifications and charges and was removed from the ARC board by a 2/3 vote of the board members. Mr. Atterbury announced that he wanted the full membership to vote on his removal from the board at the next general meeting. We will now have that vote using a paper ballot, which will be handed out.
Okay, that's not, yeah.
Information?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see the resolution where the investigation committee was formed.
The investigation committee was the executive committee of the club in small clubs. We're not the Boy Scouts of America where we have to do.
Let him answer.
Accepted by the assembly. It was not voted on by the assembly.
The whole trial had to be kept secret until it was passed. Roberts.
Hold on, hold. Okay. So, hang tight, guys. So at this point, I'm going to call for a vote. And yes. And yes, what was that? Okay, hold on. What is your point of information, Mr. Easton? Yes. Yes. But no, it's part of that. Right now, from what I am understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, that, alright, so, at this point, since he asked that question, now, does the body want to go in with looking into the investigative committee that was started, or do they not? Do they want to continue on with how it was? That is. One second. Yes?
My name was mentioned.
Yes.
It was mentioned in the first resolution that was voted down. And then the standing rule.
That's not what we're talking about here. That's not what we're talking about here. Okay. The way this works now, and the answer to your question was an investigative committee formed.
And was it voted on by the assembly?
The bylaws, okay, so the way that I have to answer that question here.
According to Roberts.
Well, according to the bylaws. Mr. Pell. Answer that question. Please answer the suspicion.
The bylaws state that an elected officer of the ARC may be removed for cause by 2/3 vote of the executive board at a special executive board meeting to remove that member. It does not call for a special committee to be developed by the membership or anything. It is the executive board. 2 members of the executive board may bring a complaint against an officer, and a meeting shall then be held and a vote taken on removal no later than 14 days after notifying the officer by mail and email. The officer in question has the right to respond to the allegations at the meeting. That's what we call the trial. If the executive board has voted to remove the officer at this meeting, the officer may take the executive board decision to the general membership at the next general meeting for an up or down simple majority vote on the decision. Up or down, yes or no. The vote shall be based on grounds for removal and the executive board decision. I have read the grounds for removal. The executive board decision by a 2/3 vote was guilty. You don't need your committee. Thank you.
The opinion of the chair is the bylaws supersede Robert's rules. We are going to move forward at this point. I am being advised by my parliamentarian here. Yes, sir. Your name was mentioned because whenever we go through this, you will have a chance to speak on Mr. Atterbury's behalf as his manager. And then, that was actually, okay, correct.
That's what I'm driving.
Right. Okay. So.
I'm sitting over here, but I'm going to get to speak.
So now we have an up or down vote. Yes, point of order.
The bylaws, following the bylaws, that you would be able to remove a member at a meeting. Was that meeting posted, and was he removed at that meeting?
The meeting, by definition, is a closed meeting. You don't post closed meetings because no one can go to them except the people who are invited.
Point of order. Do the bylaws say all meetings, or does it say everything but closed meetings?
The chair's going to let us parliamentarians speak.
This has gotten ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
The bylaws supersede, I don't know how else to do it, Phil. You and I have been over this time and time again. The bylaws supersede. They take precedence.
Why did they not supersede when they had the vote trial?
That is not my problem, and that is not the problem tonight. Tonight, no, Bill, you're wrong.
Okay, throw him out.
The problem, well, yes, you are. Now, you and I have been over this, I don't know how many times, and I'm not gonna go over it again. I should not have to be up here talking.
Amen.
Well, that's right, I've known you since 1977, and you have not changed.
Okay, so I'm going to call the vote.
Yes.
At this point, we are going to move forward with voting on this issue. that is before us, which is the removal of Dale Atterbury from the Arlington Republican Club Executive Board. At this point, if you vote yes, you will be sustaining the board's decision to remove Mr. Atterbury. If you vote no, you will be overturning the board's decision. This is the opinion of the chair at the advice of my parliamentarian. Okay, yes means that you will sustain the board's decision to remove Dale Atterbury from the Arlington Republican Club board. No means that you will overturn the board's decision and Mr. Atterbury will be reinstated to the Arlington Republican Club board. Okay, Sergeant at Arms, no one better come in and out of this room. Thank you. And we still have a quorum. I need to
I forgot what it was.
Oh, yes. Voting's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have you be quiet. Thank you.
Vote that was taken by the board, the majority will now allow the vote, and was that allowed?
The vote that was, ladies and gentlemen.
What I like about something
All right,
Lindsay.
the vote that was taken was a 2/3 majority.
Actually, not
Dale
her, but
Atterbury was
Ann.
not allowed to vote in that final vote to remove him from the board. That is the answer to that question. Mr. Eastland, what is your question?
Was it legal?
Mr. Eastland needs a ballot. There you go. All right. Okay, yes, ma'am. All right, ladies and gentlemen, secure the doors. Some people have left the room. They will not be allowed back in. I'm so sorry, they do not get to vote. Okay, we have a vote ready to come pick things up. All right, hold on. If you have a ballot, now is the time to turn that ballot in. That's Maxwell and Enrico and my good friend back here. Can you come forward? It's time to count ballots. If you have a ballot, submit it now or forever. Hold your peace. Now, talk amongst yourself. You are free to leave the room if you would like. You are free to leave the room at this point if you would like. This is a simple majority vote.
Wait. Oh, wait. Okay. I got that little. I got the whole thing, honey.
It's necessary.
We're not talking about this now.
If anything was deleted, just be on the same as this view.
What? I'm about to run out of battery juice.
I think she was my cousin today, but I just wow.
Don't be filming us right here. Don't be doing
What?
massages. Don't film us doing massages. Don't be doing that. Don't put that on the internet.
Oh, I've got so much on the
I will be
internet
at your
right now.
house.
This is live. Every bit of this.
Is it still going?
Still going. Like the ever ready bunny.
My name is Samantha.
Huh?
You posted online? Is that what
It's streaming live.
Then Kelly, my name is Samantha. You check. I'm a Democrat.
No. We never thought that.
And that's why I
Oh, James. Okay. Rosie, can you hold up? No, you don't. Here. Just keep it rolling.
Uh-oh. Ringtone is on there. Okay, that's off. It's okay now. We have 5 viewers right now. It's also...
Yeah, hey, I'm not on the video. Here, hi.
Who is that? That's going to be one of our city council women.
Gonna be.
There we go.
Yep.
And who are you going to replace, baby?
Charlie.
Yes. Sorry, Charlie.
Sorry, Charlie.
How many days till the election?
How many days?
I'm thinking
That's not it. Wait, this is it.
Thank you.
And over here.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for holding it earlier, too.
Thank you for holding it earlier, too. Janet! Hi! How are you doing? Say hi!
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have you come back into the room if you want to hear the vote count. If you want to hear the vote count, please come back into the room and take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen at the back, there are plenty of open seats and none of these people actually fight. Well, according to Ms. Eckley, already some do, but
You're going to have to go around. I'm coming.
But at this point, you can kind of clear up the entryway just a little bit.
I was going to grab it.
Just 1 second, they're making sure their final count. Thank you all for being so simple during this time. Because let me tell you, being up here in the front, kind of like the ringleader, this is not fun. I think I'd rather go dig a ditch or something. And if you know me, you know I don't like to sweat. So, or do anything physical for that matter. So, anyways, thank you all so much. I do appreciate it.
The vote is in.
All right, the votes are in. Ladies and gentlemen, the body here has voted to sustain the board's decision by a vote of 42 to 29. Mr. Atterbury is not put back on the Arlington Republican Club board. Now, that business has been taken care of. Let's move on to our final agenda item, which is the October 22nd meeting. If you wish to vote in October, you have to pay before the 30th of this month. On the 30th, your money has to be in. If it's in on October the 1st, you don't vote in the October meeting. But the good news is if you pay on October the 1st, your membership will go through next year. If you pay on September 30th, your membership is good through the end of this year. So, your call. If you want to vote next month, pay by the 30th. All right. That being said,
What year we're paying for?
If you pay before the end of the month, you're paying just for this year. So you've already paid. In October, we start accepting dues for next year at the discounted rate of $20. So I don't know, that should be on another slide
So
somewhere.
I'm a member till the end.
You're a member through the end of the year, yes. And then if you pay next month, you're just renewing your membership for next year. But if you want to vote next month, you have to pay before the end of the month to vote in next month's meeting for the general elections for the board.
If you're not a member already.
If you're not a member already. With that being said, can I entertain a motion to adjourn? Hold on. I didn't hear a second.
Second.
Do y'all want to go home? All right, adjourned.
Don't be a delegate.